Good evening and welcome to MCFC 9320 PUBcast. Fucking hell. Good evening to everybody in the chat. Good evening, Stan. Good evening, Paddy. Anne-Marie will be joining us later. She's had to pick up Raheem from the airport this week. Last week she was dropping him off. And good evening, good old friend Riz. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I bet the viewers thought I was Anne-Marie and I'd been to Turkey.
Well, pretty sweet.
What your hair off?
For a long time, we've not seen you and Anne-Marie in the same place at once.
Well, I think that time, the third time I've been on this season, I think, isn't it?
I'll tell you what, you pick your games to come back on.
So you're not wrong there, mate. That was crazy.
Listen, I'm gonna put it out there straight away. I don't think we was good today, Paddy. I think, and this is a question, and I've put a poll up in on YouTube as well. Was it a Premier League classic or was it bad defending by both? Me, I don't think it was. Paddy, I'll let you go first because I can see Stan's eyes ready to go.
Well, in terms of classics, the defenses have to be bad for it to be a classic. It was quite evident from the start that we were getting overrun in midfield. But they put Matteo on and then take Alvarez off. You're losing that creativity. We could have went and blitzed them at the start and we wouldn't be having this conversation. But I definitely think we got overrun in the midfield. It was like a run of the Champions League match. Like Andre was marking 3 and 4 players. Doku, as good as he wasn't tracking back. You know, just
yeah. I get that. I'm just reading some of the comments. I'll start off with Alec. Good evening, Alec. Awful defending today. Only Akanji was good. Well, one of my notes, because I do prep, says Diaz not been great for a while. I've not seen anything to go against that, Stan. What's your thoughts, my friend?
Saw somebody on Twitter saying that it's ever since he's got with that what was it called? So
that blonde. I'm assuming he meant that blonde.
That woman off the rubbish TV programme.
Yeah, Stan, you've had a stroke again, mate. You know, to be fair,
that blonde one, Stan went there then.
To be fair, Riz, I think I'd play pretty poorly. I think I'd be out of a groin strain if I was in Diaz's situation.
I think I would have retired, to be honest. I think it's easy in hindsight, and we can all be top managers in hindsight. But I wouldn't have started with Doku, to be honest. I'd have started with Grealish. We had no control of the game today. We had no control of the ball, and I think Jack Grealish gives us that. Doku, you know, he's exciting and what have you, but in games like that today, I just think you know, Grealish should have started and then bring Doku on at the end when they're a bit tired and blah blah blah. That's what I would have done, but it's very easy to say, and it's very easy.
Oh, Stan. No, I totally agree. It's like agree, Riz. So this is just my notes, observations from what I thought watching the match today. Should we, on the back of Premier League Classic, was it bad defending or, you know, blah blah blah? And after that, I thought just enjoy it for what it was, you know, like a good slug out. And again, the Doku thing, too open. I thought was a little bit too open today. Whereas I thought we tightened it up a little bit when Grealish came on with better control. Sterling, I thought, was outstanding and very, very respectful, not only on the pitch, but off the pitch. Cole Palmer, you arrogant little bastard. That's me, Stan. Are you settling out?
yeah, I think so. I tell you what, though, if that dog doesn't behave itself and get its act right, he won't be living in here any longer.
What dog?
The one that apparently somebody asked to last week get a grip of the dog holding me, doing the handheld stuff on the camera. Do you not remember last week, Andy? Was it too far ago? No.
I've slept since then. Was it?
No,
Was it
it was morning last week. The dog who was doing the camera work wasn't doing a good job. So
did I say that?
Yeah, I was surprised. Yeah. I thought Riz was right there. I was surprised he started with Doku. I thought the only thing that he might have been doing is hoping that we can get into a bit of a lead, then take him off, and then we can control the game and take it away. Up until the hour, he was getting away with it, but it's just one of them games, I think. Tell you what, though, it made a difference. I watched the women's game earlier. 35 shots they had, none went in.
I tell you what, even I'd have been
an 8-goal thriller.
35 shots, even I'd have been pissed after that. Would you, Riz?
Oh yeah. If you had a Jaeger bomb for every shot, bloody hell.
So Martin's put.
If you had a Jaeger shot for every shot, watching City today, you'd all be at my funeral tomorrow. You must have gone through you'd have gone through 4 bottles. It's been ridiculous. So yeah, I think Mancunian's right. He's there. He's right. It was great. It was a great game for the neutral because it was just pure chaos. And we used to love chaos because it meant we had a chance, because we were that bad. We just thought, yeah, anything can go on here. We might make a point. Whereas now we've got a team and a manager that thrive on control, and he's going to be disappointed because we didn't have that control, and that's everything that he seems to go for, old Pep. So
we'll be going. Yeah,
that's going
Pep
to
be going absolutely. Pep will be going mad.
Oh, he will.
It was. I think I said it earlier. It was like, if you'd gone to the dugout and Kevin Keegan, although he looks like him sat next to Pep, every time he flicked to the dugout, I thought Kevin Keegan was in it again, and it was like he's back to them crazy times, and Stan's spot on there. It's like that gave us a chance when it was chaos, and we don't like chaos. That was it was. I think it's one of them. I think they were on top of their game today. I don't think they'll play as good as that all season. I know Spitty was raving about them on the TV, but I don't think they'll play as good as that all season.
That's the thing. It was mentioned. It was mentioned as that Chelsea were excellent, and they were. They were really, really good. Yeah. They were good.
I think you've got to give them credit.
Probably second gear, and we've still gone there, put 4 past them, and come away with a point. Now, Spitty started carrying on about how good Chelsea had been against the top 6, and that was his reason why he thought they'd do well against us. They've drawn at home to Arsenal, they've drawn at home to Liverpool, they lost to Villa, and they beat a 9-man Tottenham. Yeah. Not sure where. If we did that, we'd be in crisis. Pep wouldn't be signing again. We'd be up to 174 charges. The whole world would collapse. And D3 Armada, you're right there. Nobody's getting over worried about what happened today. These things happen.
Stan, why don't you or me read out what is? Because when people are listening to it just audio.
Sorry about that.
Right, so D3 says, look, guys, we're going into the break on top. KDB back in training soon. KDB is actually back in training by all accounts, but not with the first team. He's doing grass work and ball work. Stone's hopefully back soon for Liverpool or Spurs. Yeah, then we have an easy running. Calm down, guys. You're
right.
If there's a reality check somewhere, Paddy, that's it from D3, isn't it?
Could I just say, though, I think there was too many defenders today who've done way too much grass work this week. You probably need to start practicing with the ball rather than the old happy stick.
I think they've been practicing with the grass this week. Yeah.
Exactly, Andy. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, get off the grass training and back onto the football training. Anyway, sorry, Paddy, I'm jumping in there. Go on, mate.
Look, if that's Chelsea at its best and us not so good, I don't think we have much to worry about. But I do think that I know he's the greatest manager in the world, and you can't take away from that. And his stats and what he's won has proved that. But he has, as much as that stubborn streak that he has works for him, that sometimes it works against him. Like when he's seen how overrun we were getting in the midfield, why not step in and change it? Now, Dougal in the second half was made run back. He was told to come back, and you could see that he was coming back a hell of a lot more. But in the first half, he wasn't. And I just think Pep should have made changes sooner to stifle them, basically, or take control of the game, because we give them the midfield.
Do you know why I think he does that, Paddy? I think he does it on purpose to see how players react. Have they got that fortitude that when things go wrong and they play a few bad balls, have they got the courage, have they got the mental strength to say, give me the ball, I'll make sure the next one goes right? And I think he leaves it. You know, we're all going mad, we're fans, we don't ever want to see us get beat. But I think he'll leave it that extra 10, 15 minutes that we wouldn't, because he wants to see what that player's made of. He's testing them all the time. A lot of players have said he must be a pain in the ass to work for, because he doesn't let up, he's relentless. And he'll give you he'll turn around and say, I'm giving you the chance to pull yourself out of that mire. Whereas other people say, well, you know, that's your strength, that's your weakness. You know, I think he does. I think he does it to sort of like give people that opportunity to show that if something goes wrong, they're not going to fold. And that's why we win far more than we lose, because we will lose the odd game, we will draw the odd game. That's football. But overall, over the course of the season, we'll win things like the league and the Champions League and stuff like that, because we've got players who think this is time to dig in, and when it matters, they will dig in. Anyway, sorry, go on, Andy. It's
bloody hell! Can we not get something up with your internet tonight?
I'm making up for last week.
Good evening, Anne-Marie. DC has
Well,
been my age 10 years during that match. I tweeted City and I went, they're going to be the death of me. That was just like defence versus attack, wasn't it? And by the way, how long did he had over for? I'm just going off what risk.
2 weeks. He's here for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
3.
Come on, Anne-Marie, give us your thoughts on the match.
Walker had a nightmare.
What?
He did. He did. Walker had a nightmare. Sterling had the run of him.
Yeah, I thought Raheem had a very, very good game. So the question, I don't know if you caught the topic question, Anne-Marie, I've put, was it a Premier League classic or just bad defending by both teams?
Bad defending by both teams. For a neutral fan, that was a fantastic game of football. But for a supporter of either team, it was, I would say, frustrating. Because you shouldn't be going away from home and scoring 4 goals and come away with a draw.
Yeah.
Basically, you should be going away and conceding 4 and not getting beat.
See, we can't hear you now. Riz, Simon's put Diaz was shaky. I thought he was more like Elvis, to be fair.
Yeah, I think he was, mate. He was, like you said, you hit on it. He's not been 100%, you know, what he was last season, definitely. Now, whether it's too much jiggy with his new girlfriend, we just don't know. She might be sapping him of energy.
I think it's Stones. I think Stones and him complement each other perfect.
Yeah.
When you break up that partnership,
Bang on, Paddy. And I've said it a few times and I'll say it again. Mike, who I sit next to at the match, he must have the patience of a saint, Anne-Marie, I know, before you say it. Mike says exactly the same. He's said it for a long, long time. Stones makes Diaz look better than he is. I'm not discrediting Diaz because I love him a bit. You know, he's a top player. But Stones makes him play better. And I've said it a few times on the show where when Diaz has to come over to the right of the centre-backs, he's not as effective as he is when Stones is at the side of him and Diaz is on the left.
Definitely. But look, we're top of the league and under the international breaks. We normally start slow. We're top of the league before Christmas.
That's exactly what Alex said. It is. And like Martin's put there as well, Reza, Alvarez looked way off it today. He did. I actually said at half time, I would have took Alvarez off, brought Jack on to play on the left, and I would have gone with Doku straight down the middle for that uncertainty.
Yeah, I mean, he's a bit like that Alvarez, isn't he? He's either brilliant or, doesn't do much. He huffs and puffs and doesn't do much. I mean, it sounds like we're having a right good moan here, doesn't it? But it's like this is the levels we're at now. Being a City fan, is that we're watching unbelievable football week in, week out, and we have a game like this where, like Anne-Marie quite rightly said, you shouldn't be scoring 4 away from home and not coming back with all 3 points. Today was so frustrating, and I think that sort of like spills into what we're saying here. People say, "Oh, listen, you're tapping." This is what we're here to do: is to analyse and see what went on in the game. And Pep isn't going to listen to us, not anymore. Anyway, I know he did last season, but this season he's not going to listen to us and change anything. We're here just to discuss what we've just watched. None of us actually went to the game. We all sat and had to suffer through watching it on Sky, most of us, I think. And it was a great game to watch if you weren't invested in it. I think Chelsea will be a lot more happy with what the result than we are. I see that as we dropped 2 points today in a crazy match that seems to be happening every time Chelsea plays. So they're turning into Wimbledon, aren't they? The crazy gang.
Yeah, Alex put there, Rodri blow, no Liverpool game. Did he get booked?
He did, but it was only his 4th booking, so he isn't suspended.
That's what I thought. I was frantically trying to look then, Anne-Marie, what it was. Can someone just confirm that?
I researched that last week when I put it up in the group. He only has 3, and today was 4.
So he's fine for the Liverpool game.
Yeah, he's fine for the Liverpool game. But here's
in the week. I know it was Europe, but is that where maybe you're getting the 5th card from?
No, in the Premiership stand, I put it up, the photograph up in the book, his stats.
No, not you. I was just wondering if that's where Alex getting confused. I can't remember.
Yeah. Here's one that I noticed today. Haaland's penalty, right? He takes the penalties the same way all the time. They're grass cutters. He doesn't lift the ball off the ground. And if the keeper goes the right way, they're going to get it.
But if the keeper goes the wrong way, he's going to score.
I know, but I'd like to see him lift the ball off the ground. Like
he knows where the keeper's going, mate. He won't just do a tap in, sort of like more or less tap-ins. He don't lever him in. Stan, do you agree, or am I talking bubbles?
No, the moment you start with...
Can I hear you, Stan? Stan,
can you hear me now?
Stan, just sort that sound out, mate. Riz, do you agree that if the more or less precision?
I don't know if Stan was agreeing, nodding, shaking his head, or if it's just the camera wobbling. I ain't telling Haaland how to take a penalty. He knows how to take penalties. And, if he wants to lift him, he'll lift him. Just let him crack on. I ain't going to help. I couldn't even hit the target if I was taking a penalty. So I'm saying nothing.
I tend to agree. Anne-Marie, would you put it down to precision, or do you agree with
it's precision? And I think while they might go along the ground, there's still a fair amount of power in them. So even if the keeper might get near it, I still think it's possibly too powerful for the keeper to save.
Yeah, I'm not just full of confidence when he's taking penalties, but I think that's just us taking penalties full stop.
Speaking of penalties, we've got that scrawny pudding basin stuffy penalty taker that's gone over to Chelsea, haven't we, to talk about?
Yeah, FIFA's come up with a good point here as well. And another reason, Palmer, the way he scuffed the penalty spot, he got a book,
Yeah,
and he got a booking for it as well. So it just shows what a little horrible little basket he is.
Yeah, but don't you think he looks like it as well, though? He looks horrible, doesn't he? He's got his baldrick haircut, his goofy teeth. He's just horrible. I'm glad when he went, mate. Yeah, I'm glad when he went, and I think there's a reason Pep was happy for him to go, because he just looks like an horrible, arrogant, baldrick lookalike, like his mum's cut his hair for him. Rag.
I don't know why you just don't say what you think, Riz, because it's obvious that you stuck for words a little bit there. And we're forgetting one thing as well. He's actually a United fan.
Yeah, he's a rag. 100%. He's horrible.
Because there was also a question what he was asked as well. In the post match, the interview, obviously he doesn't know his ass from his elbow. He turned around to Palmer and he went, I bet some of your family are a bit, pissed off with you tonight. And he went, oh, I've got a few City mates. So, listen, Chelsea's his club. He's entitled to do what he wants. But listen, have a bit of respect like Sterling did. I know Sterling went in on Foden near the end, but that's football. That's totally different than the way you conduct
Sterling showed. I thought Sterling.
Look at it
I thought Sterling showed more disrespect.
One at a time, gents.
So the
why should Sterling or Palmer show respect? The club sold them.
Well, according to Pep's actually confirmed that he's wanted to go for nearly 2 seasons, and he didn't want to stay anyway, even with Mahrez going.
Apparently, I heard him say that in the quote was that he asked him if he wanted to stay. He said, "No, I don't want to play in the position you're playing me." So he said, "Mahrez is going." He said, "I still don't want to play in that position. I wanted to go." So, if you don't want to play for us, don't care who you are, then off you pop. See you later.
Yeah, I thought Sterling showed more disrespect, telling Foden to get up when he'd been whooped up in the air. It might be, but I don't know what Palmer's done that's annoyed everyone. What did he do that isn't football?
Yeah, what a really shit haircut, mate. Sorry.
Right. Well, here's one, Stan. Scuff the penalty spot up. Yeah, right. For Haaland, and then when he scored his penalty, and I think it was to the City fans, he just went.
Well, I think somebody. What do you want him to do? Just bow and say sorry? I'd have done the same thing.
If the club sold him where Pep was sitting and celebrated in front of him,
he's effectively gone, and we've managed to get Doku for free. Should be thanking him.
Right. So
just slagging him off.
So, okay then. Anne-Marie, Martin's made a point here. Doku, fantastic going forward, but has to learn to help defending as well.
Yeah, and that's a very valid point. In all honesty, I would have started Grealish in this game today rather than Doku, because I think, we should have been clued up enough to know that we needed to keep the hold of the ball. With the top between us and Chelsea, with the top 2 possession-based teams in the league, so we should have. That's for me why we should have started Grealish instead of Doku today. Brought Doku on in the second half.
Yeah.
Martin, I think it's you who came out of the closet, mate, not Riz. But that's another story.
How did Gallagher not be booked?
How did you do?
I'd say Gallagher, when Grealish come on, never mind, even before Grealish come on, he hacked Grealish every opportunity he got and not a chance.
Gallagher was trying to hack Grealish down before Grealish came on. Is that bad?
Yeah.
I think we've been saying. we've been saying that though for a good couple of months, that Grealish is in there for the control that he can give, and we thought that Doku would play more often against teams that are a little bit more open. Chelsea were a bit more open. Doku played. You certainly won't be seeing Doku starting if we're playing Liverpool away or what have you. He's not ready there. He's nowhere near ready for that defensive side of what's going on. I mean, that first half today, we were getting mullered down the left. Doku's not working. He was working nowhere near hard enough. He'll get away with it playing Bournemouth because we're attacking all the time. But in a tight, cagey game like, what we're going to be getting, he won't be playing him. No chance.
Okay. BB's said here is Chelsea hardly misplaced a pass. They were well up for it today. I'd go one further on that. I'd say most of Chelsea's possession was from an error from us.
Yeah, I mean, we said it before. You've got to give Chelsea credit. I mean, I think they actually made us play badly. I think they pressed hard. I think Sterling again did to us today what we used to love him doing to the opposition. But on his day, he'd press, and he did that to us today, and it certainly paid off. Palmer the same. He was pressing. They were up for it. Chelsea. You said it earlier. Chelsea. They were well up for it today. They won't play as good as that again all season.
No, but just going back to Sterling pressing. Again, it's one of the reasons I wasn't sorry we sold him, because you looked at the way he played today, and yet when he played for us, he never, ever had a game like that against Liverpool. Never.
No.
Didn't turn up.
It happens though in football, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Listen, I think today Sterling showed us what we have been missing since he's not been with us.
But he won't do that for the rest of the season.
He's not been bad this season, to be fair, mate.
But he can't get in the English team, can he?
And let's not forget I think he's played against us. Is it once or twice before last season? And he wasn't exactly set the house on fire against us in those games either. I think both games he got substituted. To be fair, listen.
I was glad to see the back.
Yeah, Stan, Jack's put, and instead of getting on Palmer's back, blaming Palmer, let's look at Diaz for such a stupid tackle. It's about accountability. We weren't good enough to simple. There's a lot being said about Diaz's tackle at the minute. Maybe that's why he's not performing.
Is that picture of him in his underpants that we saw on Twitter?
No idea.
Maybe his other tackle is performing too much.
Yeah, that was what I was saying before. Somebody on Twitter had said that he's not been the same player since he started going out with that celebrity island. I don't know who it is. I don't watch it. I've got no idea. But apparently
she's no celebrity, Stan.
She's what?
She's no celebrity. She's just a slapper who was on Love Island.
I've heard she lives in Timpley. I'm not sure.
Oh, there we go then.
Did she?
Front side bottom sister.
Somebody's still not happy that they didn't get the gig for that show.
But it is. I think.
Sorry, Anne-Marie, I couldn't resist. That was an open goal. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Jack's right there. We can't really be having a pop at Palmer for scoring. It's his job now. And Diaz has been struggling, but he's been that good for so long. Players have dips in form anyway. Nobody's at the top of the game month in, month out for years on end.
Riz is in his job.
Oh yeah, all the time, mate. When I'm in.
I was going to say, yeah, he's got more holidays than Shearings.
Rodri.
I nearly died last time. There's nothing to do with holidays.
Yeah, Riz nearly died. Go on, tell them about it, because I don't think.
No, it was just a ruptured appendix. It's nothing to write home about,
Hardcore.
Hey, I tell you what, I lost weight. Have
you put it back on?
Try it, Andy?
Have you put it back on now?
Back on now. Yeah, I'm back on my pudding, chips, peas, gravy, and bit of diet now, so it's great.
Oh, God. Harvey, good evening, Harvey. If we defend like that against Liverpool, and there's a possibility we will get absolutely mullered. I think, Anne-Marie, that might have been a kick up our arse today with that defending and the way we went about it, especially being so open. I forget who said it before. It might have been Stan or someone says he can't see us playing Doku against Liverpool because of the way they play. I totally agree. That'll be Grealish every day of the week, I should imagine.
I would have thought so. Providing he comes back from international duty, okay. Well, Harvey's right in what he's saying. We cannot play with that setup again. And Rodri looked out of sorts today, and whether it was because he didn't have a John Stones or a Kovacic beside him, I don't know. But he didn't have. Normally, he can control the centre of midfield, and he didn't do that at all today. So we have to look at that kind of thing before we pick a team against Liverpool.
Yeah, Paddy Daniels put here, and this just shows you, that people have different opinions about players, what on the match and stuff like that. Haaland, Foden, Bernardo, Akanji, and Edison, brilliant today. The rest not good enough. Even Rodri wasn't good today. I don't think Bernardo was that great today.
Well, look, you pick holes and everything. Daniel saying Edison was brilliant. He didn't hold the ball.
No, but he made a great save, mate.
Go up.
He made an outstanding save.
He could have pushed it to the left or pushed it to the right.
But just before that, if you remember, he was down getting strapped up. So I don't know whether that affected him in any way. There's always reasons behind stuff. But yeah, do we just put it down as a bad day at the office? Well, is it a bad day at the office when you get a point?
I don't actually think it was a really, really bad day at the office. Yes, we weren't at our not best, but the game was chaotic. Great for the neutral. Your man, the Guardiola, Gaviscon, as we call him, had a total utter brain fart for their goal. It's just wouldn't be one bit worried about. I thought them players, all right. There was no 9 and 10 out of 10s, but there was nobody that was absolutely desperate.
No.
Stan Pardo Oak says, did Foden not realise that Cucurella was on a yellow? He should have had a go at him in the second half. Yeah, I sort of agree, but it depends if Pep's give him that instruction, and B, I thought Foden was okay today. His movement now. There was one particular incident in the sounded like a police inquiry. Didn't it? One particular incident. There was one
proceeding.
There was one phase of play today in the first half, I think it was, where he just basically took the piss out of 3 of them and put a great cross in. I think Foden is getting to be back where we know he can be. Paddy's shaking his head.
I think that I actually think Foden is the greatest footballer I've ever seen. The way he glides across that pitch, it's just like he knows what he's doing before he even gets the ball. And you can't mark something like that. Foden's gifted.
I agree. Riz, Phil Foden is generational, isn't it? He's not, he's bound to have the odd bad game here and there, but he can play absolutely anywhere. Perhaps if you put him in goal, he'd have a great game in goal. He's generational, and people wrote him off. Even some City fans, especially, he can't play on the right. Southgate saying, he plays on the right, he can't play in the middle. He can play anywhere.
Well, first off, I wouldn't take anything Southgate says because he'll still pick Jordan Henderson, so I completely disregard anything that he says. So you know what, right? I've given Phil Foden a bit of a hard time in the past on probably on here and on other podcasts I've done, and it's because
name drop
because I know how good he is. I can see how good he is, and it's like Paddy said, he is an absolute amazing player. But sometimes he frustrates the hell out of me by, instead of doing something simple, he'll try and do something spectacular. It's like today that if you watch that one, what you were just talking about, Andy, where he went through the middle of 3 players, turned them inside out, put a ball across. If he'd have actually looked up and instead of putting the ball across before, he'd have seen he was the guy running in that was completely unmarked. And if he'd have pulled it back to him, he had a free open shot on target. I know it's easy to say because you might not have seen him from the angle he was at and all the rest of it, but this is how I analyse Foden because he's unbelievable. And I'm really picky about stuff he does because sometimes he'll do this like no look shot and no look pass thing, and I just think, no, stop all that, stop it all. Just crack on with the game of football.
It's because
do what you do best.
Because he's put a benchmark up there. We want him to be up there.
I'm really critical of him, and people have said, "Oh, you've got a thing. You're always having a go at him." I'm not. I'm just having a go because it's so good, and he could be so much better now, not in a few years' time. He could be that much better now. He just seems to have this little arrogant streak in him that kind of annoys me a little bit sometimes, and again, and I mean that. I mean this in a good way. I'm not having a go at him. I mean it in a good way.
No, I get that. Martin says, "No, Simon, I was pulling what little hair I have left." And then FIFA put, "You have a lot left, Martin." Trust me, he's not. I sit above him at the match, mate.
Can I say one thing about Foden? I think at the moment he's in a bit of a unique opportunity that he's at a point now where he's carrying the team on the fact that Kev De Bruyne's not there. He's got a gap now. He knows for the next 3-4 months he's going to have to play number one lead fiddle in the orchestra, and he's not quite there. So whilst he's got all the potential in the world, and Rizzy's right, I think we get frustrated with him sometimes because we know he has got that ability and he doesn't always show it. But then again, he's 23 now? He should be starting to enter into that 25, 26, 27, 28 age group where you're at your absolute peak.
That normally happens after 23, mate.
No, you know what I'm getting at, though? He's been given the lead role probably a little bit a year earlier than he should have been, because Pep's been very good, good with him. He's nurtured him and he's brought him along, and he's played him in European games rather than Premier League games where he'll just get kicked up in the air. He could play in European games where he can play football. So he's done a really good job at it. And I think at the moment now you're going to get a little bit of it missing because and especially on today, a game like today where it was chaos, a lot of the frustration that's come today more than anything is that a lot of things happened that don't normally happen. We scored 4 and didn't win. We conceded 4, which is 3 years according to Martin, which is unbelievable. We had enough shots to have buried the game. We also conceded enough chances that we wouldn't have done over 4 or 5 games. So it was all a bit topsy-turvy, and now that we're getting used to being, controllers of our destiny, controllers of the match, one game like this comes along, it's pure chaos, and I don't think it's one-off game. If it was like this in December and we were still playing chaos football, then you'd start getting a little bit concerned. But at the moment, over one game, it's football, and it happens.
Yeah.
Well, I genuinely hope they never repeat that game because my heart wouldn't be able to.
We've seen that game a million times, haven't we, Paddy?
Paddy, why?
Yeah, but not at our age. We were a lot younger then.
But why, Paddy? Because you already know that before you watch it again, you know the result.
I wouldn't watch that game. I couldn't watch the game again, to be honest, yeah. Jesus Christ.
I don't think I'd want to watch it again. Beyond Belief says, low and hard with the penalties, just like the Brazilians. I'm one for smacking them hard because a keeper normally always goes with that. So if you hit it off the ground, it's a lot more difficult for a keeper to get down low, if you're smacking it with pace. Am I right,
You've
Stan?
also got more chance of scoring on the fact that if you lift the ball a little bit, you only have to be out a bit. The ball goes flying over, as Captain Waistcoat did when he was at England he'll know about a bad penalty. But then, Ireland, he keeps them on the deck, but he hits them so low and that far in the corner. No keeper can get down and across that quick unless they've cheated. And that's the end of it. He just knows. He's practiced there, hasn't he, as a kid, time after time, like basketball players doing to get the 3 points on the hoops. Just bang, bang, repetition. Just keeps going.
Anne-Marie, 71NXY says, I'm not a City fan, but they neutralise your midfield by getting physical with Rodri. Think your team is way too reliant on Rodri. I agree with that, and I don't think there's many City fans who would disagree with that, is there?
No, I think it's right. But he had no control today, and that's one of the key things that let us down, which is why I say, as much as we love the attacking football, should we have put somebody like Kovacic in beside him? Did I say something to upset Stan? Because we needed more support for Rodri.
Yeah, because I made a balls up because I didn't know Aki was injured, and I don't know if it was 3-3, and I said we need Aki on now to just give a little bit of support down, especially when Sterling went over to the right, and Mudryk came on and he was over on the left. But we still needed to do something. Yeah, I agree with you for a bit of support one way or the other. And to be fair, I thought Kovacic did okay when he came on.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So
I like Kovacic, to be honest. I like him. I was a bit unsure when we signed him, but having watched him, he's impressed me. I think I'd have had him in there because he's a bit gritty as well. He's a bit kind of Zavaleta-esque, in that kind of the way he conducts himself about the field. And I think him alongside him in midfield will give us a bit more grit today. I think that's what we missed.
Yeah, Jay says, Anne-Marie, I think Haaland penalties are the least of our concerns after today's game. We need Paqueta in Jan. I think there's only Paqueta who will probably know that because I think he's odds on to come to us. I think it's him who made the deposit to the bookies to say that. But do we need Paqueta?
Who is it?
Is a West Ham midfielder, mate.
I'm not convinced of that. If I'm honest, but what do I know?
I don't actually think we need Paqueta. I just think we need once KDB's back and we've got our rhythm and Stones is back. It doesn't matter. Obviously, Calvin Phillips is going to go. If we bring in somebody in, it doesn't necessarily have to be a like for like for Calvin Phillips because we've got our squad is small, but the interchanging we do, we've got players who can play anyway. Obviously, Doku can play left or right. Grealish can play left or down the middle. Bernardo can play anywhere. Foden. The list is endless, Riz, but it doesn't necessarily. It will shake it up, and he will bring players in January. I'm certain of that one.
Yeah, I mean, I've said this all along. We've got a small squad, but we've got strength in depth. We've actually got a bench that we can. A lot of teams you just have a like for like bench and people making numbers up, but we've actually got players we can bring off the bench to change a game for us. I don't think a lot of clubs have that. They have a couple of players, but we generally got a squad of players that I'm not going to say they're happy to sit on the bench, but they know the system and they know the setup and they know what's going to go on and they know that, certain players are going to be sat on the bench sometimes. And I think it's a great setup to have where we don't have unhappy players because they know they're part of it and they know they're going to get game time and win stuff. They're hungry. They want to be on that team, but they accept it. I don't know enough about this Paqueta. This is the guy that got done for gambling, I believe. Then is it? And
it's not been done. He's been investigated.
He's been looked into, isn't he? So yeah, it's. I don't know. I hate to get involved. I hate to get involved in stuff like this because at the end of the day, I've got no influence on it, and it's a waste of time me saying I think we should sign such a body because he's dark Pep and 60 at the end of the day, and I just let them crack on with it. I'll talk about what I've seen on the pitch and let others talk about that who know more about it than me.
Yeah,
it's an interesting point though about Paqueta, because if you think we were looking to sign him in the summer, and as soon as we started making any sign of being interested, that's when we found out that he was possibly going to get done for betting, and we pulled out of the deal then. And I think that goes to show what kind of investigation City's doing to players before they buy them. Because then you look at Tonali at Newcastle. They knew about this prior to him being sold, and yet Newcastle bought him, and now they're going to have to do without him. But was it 10 games or something?
10 months.
Is it 10 months?
10 months.
Something. So how little investigation did Newcastle do when they were going in to buy him?
That's a great.
You're right there, Anthony. The ultimate word, though. A lot of people think it'd be Fabrizio Romano. If we want to know who's coming on January, I think we'll probably be best asking Ivan Toney. He's the expert on, what's going on and what's going to happen. Tell you, in the know, that lad.
Yeah, Paddy.
Like Sturridge, who was on the panel today. He'd be in the know on that kind of thing as well, wouldn't he?
He'd be on a panel, all right. He'd be getting a panel beating off me. I can't stand Sturridge. BB says Sterling getting injured in this fixture last season added to his drive today. Of course, he's a good player. That's why he played for us for so many years. Absolutely spot on. I think City fans in general have given Sterling a lot of disrespect. Yeah, he missed all them chances. Haaland misses a lot of chances as well. I thought Sterling was fantastic for us, from the minute he joined us it seemed that he did want out, but that was because I think that was more mutual between him and Pep, because Pep wanted to change a different style of play.
Yeah, look,
to be honest with you, I don't know I don't know any City fans anyway that sort of didn't like Sterling. There's obviously the idiots on Twitter and social media and stuff, but I think all people say to me is that he's the most frustrating player that I've ever seen, and I can't disagree with that. He was so some days he was unplayable, and other days he couldn't get his ass with a banjo, could he? That was Sterling. He was frustrating, and we see it. I mean, today was one of them games. He's got a blinder. He'll probably have 2 thinkers now. It'll be a nightmare for me.
Stan, Sterling today, was it extra drive against us, or is that what Sterling can do on his day anyway?
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? He can do that. He can destroy anyone on his day. We've seen that. He played for us. It's the problem as there is. So then what happens on the next 9 games? He'll have 3 good ones. He'll have 2 all right, and then he'll have 3 stinkers. Now, you were saying about Ireland. Ireland does miss chances, but apparently he's in crisis, and he's now down to 9 goals in the last 6 games.
Terrible,
you're going to get away with things when you're pulling out figures like that. That's what he does. Sterling never did that. Don't get me wrong, he was a good player for us. And I think Reggie's right that nobody really disrespected him. But you just knew that for every good game that he played, there probably was 3 complete stinkers. And how many times has everybody said it? Great at finishing, but if you put him with the ball in front of the net and 3 seconds to think, you're going to be getting the ball out of that Mercedes showroom that's closed down now.
Even when we played away.
Yeah, even that shot in Leon ended up in that Mercedes car room.
So, I didn't see him shoot Leon. He shot Leon?
No, when we were away at Leon years ago.
Marie Pardo Oak says, I can't believe Pep went gung-go instead of looking for control today. Now, has this got is this a monster what's created with the press because people want Doku to play, you know, or do you want Grealish to play? And a few of you have already said tonight, it was Grealish's game that all day long. We did, Pardo Oaks is absolutely spot on. We did go out instead of control. If we would have controlled that from minute one, it wouldn't have been a 4-all that.
No, it wouldn't. And that was the key thing. It was a key thing because, you know, if you can have the same argument I was having about Mahrez. Doku wasn't getting back quick enough to do his defensive work. But, you know, this is still early days for him and he'll learn. And if he doesn't, he just won't. Pep won't stand for it.
That's the
The
thing.
thing is, he's only 21, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's only 21, and I've seen him improve already since he's been at City in that short period of time. And apparently he learns really quickly, and the other players are amazed how quick he's picking things up. I think today was just one of them.
Hard is it? Going up and down the line, Jesus, you don't have to be a rocket scientist, Lee.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, this is the thing, though, isn't it? Doku's getting in there because the Twitter brigade, they love somebody twerking, and Doku's twerking away. But you know, we've seen it. You don't always want that. Sometimes you just want some steady Eddie. He'll keep the ball. It's not sexy, it's not glamorous, but he'll grind the points out and it'll give you that stability that you can. Talking about old Jack. You know, he's getting a bit older. He's getting a bit wiser. He realises what's going on, and he's doing it. And the team benefits. And we've got a solid platform on both sides. We didn't have a solid platform on both sides today. This is why we were losing control in midfield. And it's, you know, and then they poured through the middle and they put pressure on Diaz and all the little bits that we're normally quite good at and we can control. We didn't have that control. Now, I'm not blaming Doku for the whole game, but if we're going to be honest and we're going to stand up and say, well, hang on a minute, who's doing what? And this is what Pep's exceptional at. He'll turn around and say, Jeremy, you've had a good game. Don't worry about it. You can going forward. But on Monday, we're going to start practicing more on this. You're going to have to step your game up a bit more because I don't want one player. I don't want a player who's a one trick. We need people, and we've said it before, we need Swiss Army knives in there. We've only got a little squad. All we need to do is make sure that people can do multiple roles. Once you start building up your defensive side, because I don't think you did it at Rennes, once you start getting that organised, the midfield gets solid, then we can start doing all the twerking you want. But till you do that, it's not going to work for Guardiola. He's not interested.
Marie, that Jay Brooks has put exactly the way I feel about Sterling. I thought Sterling was ace. Jay's put Sterling's Pep's second top scorer after Aguero. When I think Messi, I think that was third, mate, because of Messi as well. But I get your point, and I totally endorse it. When he was on, when he was on it, he was undroppable.
I know, but then if you look, there's also a comment from I think it's I'm trying to read Russ Davis. Sterling was shocking for us in that last 18 months, and I'd kind of go with that basis. You know, if you look at
you just don't like right wingers.
No, it's not that. If you look at
pattern forming here, isn't it?
But if you look back to the Champions League final against Chelsea, Sterling got in that team and going on form for that season, there was no way he should have got in that team for that game. The same way as Rodri should never have been dropped for that game.
No, I agree. Stan Mark Armstrong says, and you'll probably, I think everybody will agree on it. Doku for home games, Grealish for tougher games and control. Now, it always brings me up to Stan's analogy, this of different keys for different locks.
Yeah, I mean, these group stages are great for Doku. You know, we're playing teams that probably some of them probably aren't Premier League level, and he can do his little bits and bobs, but he's going to have to learn and learn quickly. You do need to do, you know, you're not there doing one job. I think Calvin Phillips. I think he's learned that, and I think that's probably what's swinging it away from him. That he can't quite do 2 or 3 jobs well enough. He can do 1 or 2 well. I think he just struggles a little bit on a few things that really annoy Pep when they don't do it.
No, there's a point. Big Morg says, Riz, how did Gallagher not get sent off? How many fouls? It's not enough. You know something? I rated Gallagher when he was at Palace. I think he's an absolute knob end now. Since he's gone back to Chelsea, he's a proper knob end.
Yeah. Only Anthony Taylor can answer that one. I thought, well, that's him. Yeah. I assumed at one point that he was going to be sent off, and then I realised he's not even been booked. He didn't get booked today, did he? And I was just thinking, like,
Russ has come up here saying that as for Carragher, he's totally mistaken on some of the things that he says. He's right there. He's gone in.
Is it that one?
He's going on about Chelsea today as though there was some sort of like, oh, you know, they got a young team there and they bring it together. They spent $1.5 billion in 18 months, and they just bought everything that moved solid. You know,
is that why they didn't? Is that why they didn't buy you, Stan?
Well, I'm not. I'm more your Jan Mulvey, me. I'm not. You're not going to get me out.
Everything.
Certainly not going to move out of the centre circle. Forget that. No. Like you.
Jan Mulvey in his prime.
Yeah. So it's.
Listen. I just on about the subject, the famous my favourite subject of commentators. I'm so glad I have a season ticket, so I don't have to see at least half the games and listen to the commentary.
Mm-hmm.
I think I tweeted today that I'm going to have to start getting some more away games so I don't have to listen to the commentaries, because it's absolutely shocking.
It is.
I mean, that again today, Ian, what's he called? Ian Jorex, yeah.
I was made up when Ian Jury and the Blockheads started commenting. I used to think he was I thought he was a good commentator. Since he's gone to Sky, he must have been given Martin Tyler's scripts book. Yeah,
I think he's channeling his inner Martin Tyler. He couldn't be so more depressed when we score or equalise the opposition score, and he's always going ballistic, and Carragher's passing in tissues in the room there, both getting excited. And I'm just thinking, like, what the comments they come up with, and there's got to be some sort of agenda, haven't they? Commentary-wise, there's got to be, surely. They've got to be told, you can't be partisan for City. Even the Champions League, they sound depressed when we equalise or we score first. And well, I get sick of it.
As I always say, Riz, I don't think like referees apparently can't referee teams what they supported. I don't think commentators should be commentating on clubs what they know they supported or had years of service, like Carragher, Neville. The list goes.
I don't mind him having a completely neutral commentator, and then if it's a derby, have partisan for one, an ex-City player and an ex-United player or an ex-Liverpool, and it gives it's a bit of banter as well, isn't it? I guess. I just loved it when you just had a commentator and you didn't need a call. We didn't used to have Gerald Sinstat didn't used to have commentators, and Barry Davis and all them. They were proper commentators, and they didn't fill it with nonsense. They just commentated on it. Gave you an impression of what was going on in the game, and sounded enthusiastic when one of the teams scored or something good happened. You start eating your tea, you want to know when something good's happening so you can look up. Now you haven't a clue. Yeah, that's my little rant over there, I guess.
We've not had a Rizzy's rant for a while, have we?
I've had a few, but not on here.
Jay says people slagging Cole off when he done nothing but praise and thank City in his presser. Fair play to you, Cole. You know, it's all about opinions. I think he's become an absolute knob end. Listen, that is just my opinion. Russ says here, Paddy, Walker, Diaz and Guardiola bobbins today.
Yeah.
No. I'd agree with that.
Really?
Yeah.
By their standards, I think they were.
I don't think they were that.
Guardiola fell over the ball for their goal, didn't he?
and the tackle he did on Rioch or whatever he's called for their penalty as well. You know, it's just, I don't know, there's just something not quite right with Diaz. We just need to get him to a position where we know he can be, you know, and that's not. I think
his Love Island lovelies had him in a few positions that I think he doesn't need to be getting into. I think that's one of the problems.
Yeah, and Marie, Ian says, everyone knew how Chelsea were going to play, so why didn't we defend 5 yards deeper to cut down the space they had to run into? Again, that is spot on. It just seems like we thought Keegan Days will outscore you.
Yeah, I get that. You do get that impression, and it was frustrating watching us constantly back off and not put a tackle in outside the box kind of thing. There's no... Because for me, that's just inviting the pressure onto you.
Yeah, we're not going to defend 5 yards deep because it means we won't be able to play our game. At the end of the day, if you drop down 5 yards, you're going to have that big space between the lines, between you and the midfield. You'll also have it if the forwards don't drop back. That's going to be there then between the midfield and the forward line. He's going to want to impose his own way of playing, Pep. He won't drop that 5 yards deeper, no chance.
He never did it against Liverpool with Sana, and he never did it against Leicester Vardy. Long ball over his hand. And they were in the ball all the time.
No. So he wants to keep the ball. His whole philosophy is keeping the ball close to players. Once you start moving players further away, the ball's got further to travel. There's more chance of getting in an interception. It's just not. There's 1,001. Don't get me wrong. There's 1,001 ways of playing football, but we're dealing with a fella there that's very specific on very specific things, and he's just not gonna. He's not gonna want that ball any more exposed than it needs to be, and by doing that, we would have exposed the ball. That's why I think he didn't do it. I just don't think he will. I don't even think he entertained it. Yeah, not that it's not a bad idea. It's just not something he would think about.
I'm with Russ here. We don't need Paqueta. I just think not priorities are elsewhere. It's a City fan thing, isn't it? In general, it's when if you don't get a favourable result, as in a win, a comfortable win, we don't have 50 chances on goal. It's a bit of a meltdown, isn't
it? No, I won't exactly say we're having a meltdown on here, but I know what you mean. It's like you're going to go on Twitter and they'll be asked to be looking to sack Pep and City out because he's not recruiting and all the rest of it. You know, we're commenting on what we saw today and maybe from what we've been seeing building a little bit. And today, today it's not been good enough. You know, by the standards that we're now used to, that today, you know, defense wise was poor. You know, all their stuff we let them create. It could have been more. Let's have it right. It could have been more really. You know, that one Cole Palmer went through with, and Edison pulled off a great save, and that was another one that, you know. So listen, we're not sat here having been beaten 5-4 in the last kick of the game or something like that, because that would have been really big pill to swallow. Getting beat, you know, drawing 4 apiece we'd have took a point, wouldn't we, at the beginning of the day? It's just how it went, how we went about our business today, kind of left a little bit of a sour taste in our mouths. You know, it's the fact that we scored 4 goals and not got 3 points. That's the. If it had been 1-1, we'd have been happy. But because it's 4-4, we're not.
And the time we scored as well, Anne-Marie, which we went 4-3 up. We should be closing that down.
Again.
Yeah, but that it's not really in our nature to do that. We've only seen it a couple of times, really, 2 or 3 times, where we keep the ball in the corner to just time waste. And we were nowhere near doing that today.
Do you know what I think it is, reading those points and listening to ourselves? I think what we were uncomfortable with today was, as fans, we were dragged so far out of our comfort zone. It's been a little bit of a, whoa, what's going on? And as Rich said there, if we'd have come away with that as a 1-1, nobody would have really batted an eyelid because it's like a normal score and it's one of them things. But 4-4, that is saying we're going back to the Kevin Keegan days here, where it was proper roulette, and you can be 3-0 down, 4-3 up, and then get beat 5-4 in the last 2 minutes. It's a style and a time of football that I think for a lot of us, we thought we'd left behind, but we never will. We're typical City, and we've got that mentality. The young uns, again, you don't want to start saying there's a split there. They've not seen that. They don't know it. They tend to see controlled football that produces results. So when things like this come up, it's like so-and-so was rubbish today, so-and-so was garbage, and as though that's going to affect them over the course of a season. It won't. Every single player on the planet has probably had 10 games a year where they're not as good as they want to be. More. It's just that those that win find a way and pull themselves around.
Yeah, no.
We've done it time and time again, haven't we?
Yeah. I mean, Brian there saying we were lucky to get a draw. I could equally argue that we were unlucky to get a draw. I thought that we did enough to get a win, but I think a draw was a fair result.
I thought a draw was probably about
fair
right.
Result. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. But to turn around and say we're lucky, we were lucky to get a draw. We went in front. We kept going in front, didn't we? We went behind once, and then after that, we were the ones who were in front, and they were coming from behind. So I don't agree with that. I mean, the draw was a fair result, but if someone was going to win it, I think City deserved to win it on the face and everything. Perhaps Chelsea fans watching it know that they played out of their skin, so deserve a win. We played really below par, and we got a draw when we're not happy with it. But I think Chelsea are really pleased with it.
They seem a lot happier.
Carefree says only been since 2009. Let's have it right. Now, listen, if you're going to call us, at least get your own house in order and just get your spelling right, mate. That's all I've got to say on
What's
that.
Ealing? Is he a new signing? Only be at Ealing.
Yeah. Alex says, Anne-Marie, when Chelsea scored, the commentary was loud. I agree.
Yeah, no great surprise in that, though. I've given there's times I've just switch it off because I can't listen to Spitty McSpitty. And actually, a lot of the time, while he does talk sense at times, I can't listen to Gary Neville when he's commentating on a United game or when he's commentating on us, because I think there is a bitterness there that he can't fully hide. As much as he makes compliments about us and things, there's still a snideness there, because it's like watching the derby the other week, and he at no point would he admit that it was a penalty.
No.
No, I tell you what, you're spot on there, Anthony, because I remember about 5 minutes later when they scored, and it was more or less the same. That corner come over, a couple of players got in the way of Ireland and whatnot, and that allowed Silver to get in. And he nearly tripped himself up because he went, which he very much like this. Oh, well, I suppose if he's given it that way, then, yeah, you know. And that was the closest he's ever get to saying, you know, yeah, if you're moaning about that penalty, you're going to have to moan about that first goal. And he couldn't find it in himself to do it. He caught himself just before.
And then when he's struggling, he starts going all political, either talking about the Labour Party and how close to Keith Starmer he is, or then start going on about the green, you know, like.
No, sorry, I was talking about Jamie Carragher today.
Oh, right, sorry, I thought we were on about Gary Neville, right, sorry.
Oh. No, I'm just saying.
You know, at the end of the Culdoon's interview, and he addressed 115 charges, and he told the interviewer that once the charges are sorted, that he's going to give another interview, and he's going to basically tell how it is. I think a lot coming, and I think it's Gary Neville and Carragher and the likes of them are going to get it. Because Gary Neville was on Sky News or Sky Sports, and he turned around and say, there's no way Man City's earning more money than Man United, and they're sports washing and they're this and they're that. I definitely think Culdoon is going to address all these biased commentators once these 115 charges have been dealt with.
Yeah.
Alec, Brian Lynch is no longer on here, mate. He's just got a Tonali. Yeah.
Did he say who he supported, old Brian?
But Brian Lynch. He'll be Scouser.
71 in XY again. Horses for courses with this, mate. You put if Chelsea was an experienced, mature team, you guys would have lost 4-1 today. I would counter that and by saying if we was bang on our game how we normally are, we'd have probably won 4-1 as well, possibly. Would you go with that, Lee?
Yeah, 100%.
5.
Hey,
If's doing a lot of lifting there.
Yeah. So yeah, listen, we'll park it there for this week. I just want to finish on something. What a Jack Lee comment. It's not the draw that's disappointing. It's the way we're leading until so late on in the game. That's disappointing. I think that is pretty much right. That isn't it? You know, because It's that old disappointment, you know, like we scored pretty much right at the death and then to concede that goal. To Chelsea, that'll feel like a win. To us, it feels like a defeat. And I think that's how far we've come as a club, you know, as a fan base.
At the same time, Andy, we scored that fourth goal in the 85th minute. So there was still 5 minutes of the game to go. And we knew damn well there'd be a minimum of 6 minutes. Mm-hmm. And it turned out to be 8 minutes of time added on. We didn't have the gumption to shut up shop. And that's what was disappointing about today's game.
Yeah, but
game management.
Let's be honest. We've shipped in goals and either drawn or lost from winning positions against Tottenham, against Brentford. We seem to do it 4 or 5 times a year. You know, but always Tottenham. There's 2 a year. Tottenham home and away. We always seem to end up conceding in the 90th minute. Leeds did it. Didn't Leeds beat us 1-0 and had one shot, and the first shot was in the 190th minute or something. It's gone in.
I think. Can I just add? I think this thing where the amount of minutes that are being added on. When you know you're playing 90 minutes and it comes down to the last 5 minutes of the game, before you were sort of thinking, oh, there might be 2 or 3. You could sort of guess. We used to guess as the fans, and you kind of knew. So you knew you had to manage the game out for the next sort of 8 minutes. But when they're announcing after the 90 minutes, it's going to be 9, 10, 12 minutes.
That just gives everyone a.
That's another quarter of a hat. It's a long time. It's a hell of a long time. And if you're pacing yourself and managing the game for 90 minutes, and it's going on to 115 minutes and things like that, it's ridiculous.
No,
how I get it. City's games, the ball's never out of play really. So I think there was a couple of injuries that might have added on to it, substitutions. But where are they getting these times from? It's balls in the game up.
It is, mate. It is. I know Edison was down for a couple of minutes, but
check for the possible handball goal by Haaland. There was
he knocked that in with his knackers.
I know there was at least 6 substitutions as well, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Anyway,
there's something here that Jack Lee said here. Game management was pathetic today. It's not uncommon. I think if you look back over the last 50 games, we probably lost about 4 games. So I think game management being pathetic is.
I think it was today.
Is very uncommon.
I sort of get
what today it was.
I sort of get what Jack
today,
said.
but
it's not.
It was today, but it's difficult to manage a game when you don't know how long the game's going to be playing for.
You play to the final whistle, Riz. It's as simple as that.
But how can you manage a game then? So you start taking it to the corner flag with 15 minutes to go.
If that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. Just so you know, Andy, I probably won't be on next week because I'll be on my way home from the ladies' derby at the Swamp.
Oh,
so they're priority over us and your followers on here.
Well, I'm supporting our ladies, aren't I?
Our ladies, are they? No, I'm not going down that
one.
No, anyway, listen.
It's a church team.
Thank you, everybody in the chat, as always. Good to see you, Riz, my friend.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I've seen you this week personally, but it's great to be back, mate. I really enjoyed it. I have missed it. I've just things haven't been working out for myself. But no, I've really missed it, and I've really enjoyed being back.
I know what you mean, mate. I know what you mean, mate. Paddy, thank you as always, my friend. Hello. Oh, I thought you turned into Stan then. Stan, as always. No, you froze like Stan then. I thought you was in his room again. Room, not womb. Stan, thank you very much for joining us.
Well, you're all right. I'll see you.
It's always a pleasure, never a chore.
Well, I'm going to see if I can get hold of Branson this week and give him a good idea.
He's a bit pickled him, isn't that, Branson?
Yeah.
Is that little ginger kid that gets in Pep's taxi?
He wants smacking and you know it.
And Marie, thank you for joining us. And I will finish on this. City at top of the league, 1 point clear going into the international break.
And it's still November.
Always remember, it's still November. Listen, thanks for joining us, guys. We'll do it all again next week. We might do something a little bit different next week with it being an international. We might even involve some prizes and stuff like that. Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Take care, everyone.
Have a great week. Bye-bye now.